What's good, everyone? It's the Fourth Beer, Fourth Down podcast. I'm your host, Cain, with no one else. It's just me today. Ethan called in sick. He's feeling a little under the weather, so stuck with me today. But yeah, let's get it cracking. We had some good Thanksgiving football last week. Had some good non-Thanksgiving football last week. So yeah, let's go through our picks for next week. Ethan texted in his picks, so I'll list off his picks as well. So first off, tomorrow we got a banger. We got Cowboys and Lions. So Ethan went with the Lions on this one. I'm not quite sold myself on the Detroit Lions. I'm going Dallas here. They just they came out with a fire against the Chiefs last week. That Thanksgiving game, just Dak's just he's got it. He's whatever it is, he's got it right now. He's really trying to get them into the playoffs. George Pickens looked insane. He had that huge hurdle over whoever. But yeah, I'm going Cowboys here. The Lions just came out and put up a stinker against Green Bay. Amon-Ra might be out next week. He had that injury really early on, killed my fantasy game. So if he's back, that'll help a lot. But Amon-Ra or not, I'm going Dallas here. But I could see a world where Detroit wins this too, because they got to be vying for a win at this point as well. Especially in a division as tough as the NFC North right now. It's super close. You only got really one team that is not going to make the playoffs for sure, which is, we know who I'm talking about. So next, got Titans Browns here. So Ethan's he's going Browns in this one. I think I agree. Don't know if they won last week. I'll have to check. That's a game I did not watch. Oh, of course they didn't. They played the 49ers, so of course they didn't win. We got Shador in the cut. Think we're going to see him again this week. Whether it's him or Dylan Gabriel, I don't think it matters too much talent-wise. I mean, the ceiling's, of course, higher with Shador being the more athletic player, of course. But when it really comes down to it, I don't think it really matters who's starting there. Long term, you want to see the person that can develop more. I think Shador might be that guy. I believe he's got the height advantage, and that's really big when it comes to NFL quarterbacks. We've seen it time and time again where shorter quarterbacks just don't pan out. And if I remember correctly, Dylan Gabriel's not towering over anyone. So, yeah, I think I got Browns here regardless. That defense is actually legit. Got one of the best defensive players in the league in Myles Garrett, just a generational talent, wasting his time. it's like it's like if if a CEO of a company stepped down and was like, you know what? I think I should clean the bathrooms instead. I think I'd be good at that. And he just was the best at cleaning the bathrooms. And he's like, look, I'm the best at cleaning bathrooms. It makes zero sense. Maybe that's a dumb comparison, but whatever. We're winging it here. Yeah, I got Browns here. The Titans are just probably gonna get that number one pick. They're terrible. I think they only have one win on the year. Cam Ward, just pray to God that he pans out, because that team around him is not great either. So it's just really tough to throw a quarterback into a situation like that. You see the same thing in Minnesota. It's just let him sit for a little bit. Let him learn a little bit. You can't just throw him out there. You gotta, whenever you get a new job, you need to get trained a little bit. You should see how it's done before you have to jump in there and do it yourself. Give him some time. Give him some time, and hopefully he pans out. But yeah, it's got to be Browns this week. Next, we got the Seahawks and the Falcons. We got the Birds. The two Birds playing. Michael Penis out for the year. Sam Darnold. I mean, what they play? They played the Vikings last week. If I remember correctly, I'm gonna double check that because I've been too high on the Bears to pay attention to much other games, but I did see that score 26-0. I know Sam Darnold didn't really have to do much, so hopefully you see it here where he has that game where he kind of shows that he is that dude. But regardless, the Seahawks just have a better team. Ethan picked the Seahawks as well. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's kind of a gimme game where the Falcons are in shambles. I gotta check if they won last week because no, they played the Jets and they lost to the Jets. Yep, and I called that. I picked the Jets over the Falcons because they're just in shambles. Just a team that has the offensive weapons, but they can't put it together. You got old man Kirk Cousins running out there. What do you really expect? He can only do so much, especially with, I believe it was that Achilles injury. I don't know how long ago that was, but when a quarterback's already not mobile and old and he's got an Achilles injury under his belt, it's a recipe for disaster. You can't really expect much out of him. But at least they did the smart thing, and they have a veteran backup option in case their rookie doesn't pan out or goes down with injury. What the Vikings should have done. I mean, Case Keenum, Jacoby Brissett. The list goes on of Gardner Minshew. The list goes on of quarterbacks that are out there that you can get for pretty cheap. And not to mention, they had 2 great quarterbacks on their roster. Maybe I shouldn't say great, but they've been looking kind of great at points throughout the season. So however you want to put it, going Seahawks here, legit contender, gonna be a playoff team, and we'll see how Darnold performs in the playoffs. So yeah, next we got a division game. We got the Colts and the Jaguars. And Ethan's going Colts here. And I think I agree. It's a thinker for me because see the Jags, they didn't do too bad last week. Played the Titans, I mean, yeah, beat them 25-3, but you saw they won the game they should have, and for the Jaguars, that's not always been the case. Ever, maybe. But especially this season, it's not always the case where they win the games they should have. I mean, this is the same team that beat the Chiefs and then kind of fell apart, came back together, They've been off and on all year, just like they've always been throughout the entirety of the franchise. I mean, but then you got the Colts. I've been hearing talks of Daniel Jones being hurt and playing through injury. I'm not exactly sure about the info on that, but regardless, team around him's pretty good. You get no Sauce Gardner here. Still got one of the best running backs in the league, having one of the best seasons for a running back in the past few years. Other than you got the Saquon year or whatever. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go. I'm going to take a flyer, and I'm going to go Jaguars here in an upset a little bit. Kind of hot coming off that win. Colts coming off a loss to the Texans, who have been kind of pulling it together lately. Don't really know what to think about them at this point. They got a legit defense. They got some weapons on offense. You got Nico Collins, C.J. Stroud. I think he's still that dude, but Davis Mills held it down when he was out. But I think Stroud is that dude. He's just got to put it together. He's still young. Again, give him time. He's another guy, came in, started right away, took over that team, really kind of made them relevant after the shambles they were left in because of Bill Cosby copycat, Deshaun Watson. But yeah, going Jags here in an upset. Then we got the Commies and the Vikings. What a shit show, man. What a shit show. Commies, they looked decent last week. I watched a bit of that game against Denver. made me think a lot about football as a game, really, which is what you really want out of football. Think about what makes the game so great, and what makes the game so great in my eyes is the fact you got a team here. You got the Denver Broncos, legit contender. They got one of the best defenses in the league. You can arguably say the best. Either way, maybe the best corner in the league. In my opinion, probably the best corner in the league, Patrick Surtain. He's coming back from injury. He played last game. And then you got rising star Bo Nix, who's looked pretty decent most of the year, but again, a younger quarterback. I know the joke's about him being old, but he's, 24? Not that old. Come on. But, yeah, that game going the way that it did made me think about how football really is a game of 5 or 6 plays most of the time, and that game was a game of maybe 1 play. It came right down to the last play. You get the 2-point conversion in overtime to go for the win. They didn't want the tie. I respect that. I respect the hell out of that, especially going in with a backup quarterback. You got Marcus Mariota balling out. He played pretty good for Marcus Mariota. I mean, this is a guy that kind of given up on, just became a career backup guy that has been very solid. And it's kind of crazy to think he was in that draft with Jameis, who has also been a very solid backup for most of his career now. We saw what happens when he is the full-time starter, and it makes for very fun football, but not necessarily winning football. So, yeah, that came down to that last 2-point conversion. Sorry to ramble, but 2-point conversion, they're going for it, and just hate to see him lose like that, just get batted in the face. But Mariota really showed hard at the end of that game, and threw one of the craziest plays I've seen of the year to Terry McLaurin in overtime. It was right before the big pass to Debo that actually counted, but it was the touchdown to get to that 2-point conversion. Right over the middle to Terry. He got fucking nailed in the end zone. Fucking nailed, laid out, coming off injury. He hopped right back up. Crazy to see. But he caught it, held on to it. It was a touchdown, called back for holding. You hate to see it, but then you get Debo on the long play, the play right after. Puts them right in scoring position, and they do score, but then ultimately lose because of that 2-point conversion, like I said. A lot of games you see come down to 3 or 4 plays, and if you watch full games, you really get to see that, I'm not talking about blowouts, but these are all professional teams, so each team is playing for their career. Like, their career is on the line minus, you got your superstar players that don't really have to worry about that, but you do also have a lot of fringe players, like players I'll get to later with other games, but there's one I really want to highlight this week, and I'll get to him when I talk Bears-Packers. Maybe a couple, honestly, on the Bears that are just coming in playing like their career's on the line every game, because for a lot of them it is on the line, especially without that extra preseason game. But yeah, Commanders-Vikings anyway, whatever. I'm going to go Commanders here. I probably already said that, but yeah. To highlight the Vikings this season, or really low-light them, they have maybe the worst quarterback room in the league at this point. 9 is not it right now. He is young. He is very young. I think 22. He's a young dude. He should not be playing football right now. He should be on the bench behind Joe Flacco, behind Jacoby Brissett, behind the Brian Hoyers of this generation. He should be sitting and learning, and he shouldn't be out there playing football, because as we've seen, he is not ready to be playing professional football at this level. It is a whole different league, and I hate to see a quarterback's confidence just get destroyed like that. But when you're putting up numbers that are comparable to Jamarcus Russell in any way, you kind of got to call it out. It is professional football, and if you're not if you're not hitting that mark, then you gotta go. You gotta go learn, or you gotta go figure out what you're passionate about, because maybe you're not cut out for it. But I still give him time. I'm not all in on the 9 hate wagon all the way. I think there is a world where he does develop into that player we think that he is. And that player that we think that he is, or at least I think that he is a ceiling of Andy Dalton, maybe. I think he's best case scenario an Andy Dalton guy. I've never really thought of him as that top tier superstar quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, those types of quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford, those quarterbacks that you got in there and you're confident that they can take you to a Super Bowl and win it. There's a difference between players that are good enough to win you games, like Andy Dalton. Great guy, great quarterback. Not somebody you're going to be mad at having as your quarterback, but we saw it with the 49ers. There is a cap to that with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why they went out and pushed so hard to get Trey Lance. It was just the wrong guy. But yeah, Commanders here all day, all night. That's right. Bengals, Bills. We got the BB game. Yeah, gotta be Buffalo here. I don't know where they're playing it. I don't think it matters. The Bengals are coming off a W against the reeling Baltimore Ravens. They got Lamar back, but from what I hear, he is injured. I'm trying to find that game so that I can see the score of it, because I quite honestly forgot. 32-14. Yeah, it was kind of a blowout. I didn't really watch this one on Thanksgiving. I was more geared towards the Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Cowboys games, of course, because the Bengals aren't playing meaningful football at this point. They're playing spoiler. They're playing to make you have a bad day if your favorite team is the Baltimore Ravens, because the Ravens are trying to get in the playoffs. They are trying to play meaningful football. They are a team trying to bounce back from being without their quarterback for so long. But I guess it just wasn't enough. I know that defense has had issues. I know that Lamar has had issues throughout the year with injuries. I don't want to completely say that Lamar has just fallen off a cliff, because I don't think he has. But I think that the signs are starting to show why you get these issues with mobile quarterbacks. The issues where they can't stay healthy. They get older, and then you pair not being able to stay healthy with a game that relies on athleticism. It's kind of a recipe for disaster a little bit, but time will tell if he can adjust and become more of a pocket passer. But honestly, the idea of that almost makes me laugh. He's not a terrible passer by any means. I'm not trying to justify calling him a bad passer, but we know where he's best. He's best with his legs. We've all seen it. We've all lived through the highlights of him juking people out, spinning around guys, making them look stupid. So once he kind of starts to break down and get hurt, you see them not win as much. So yeah, I'm going Bills here regardless. I just think that they're a better team. The Bengals defense is one of the worst defenses I've seen. Honestly, that Bears game showed me a lot about why Bengals fans are so upset with their defense. Their defense is unacceptable, to say the least. I can't stand watching a game with a defense that bad, which is some of the problems I've had with the Bears this year. But regardless, we're going Buffalo here. Let me check what Ethan picked. I assume he would agree, but yeah, he's going Bills too. All right, and then we got a division game. We got Saints Buccaneers. Pretty bad division here. Buccaneers, they've been off and on. Might get Mike Evans back soon. I know Chris Godwin's back. Baker has played like an MVP at points. He's played like a all right quarterback at points. So really doesn't matter for this one. It could be a lot of different people at quarterback for the Bucs. I'm going Bucs here. The Saints are, at this point, should be trying to lose. Tyler Shuck is not the guy. Spencer Rattler, we obviously know, is not the guy. So yeah, they're in tank mode. They're looking forward to next year. They should be phoning it in. But it's a division game, so you never really know what you're going to get. These games are tough a lot of times when they really shouldn't be. They should really be taking their foot off the pedal and say, let's try to beat the Titans for that first pick. But the Titans kind of got that on lock. So, yeah. Either way, going Buccaneers here. Ethan, of course, picked the Bucs too. Anybody really would. Not a lot more to say about this game, but what the fuck's going on with Bucky Irving? That's all I gotta say. I don't know. Yeah. Then we got Steelers, Ravens. You got Ethan here picking the Ravens. I don't know what to say about this Steelers team, and I don't know what to say about this Ravens team. They're both teams that I thought were better than they are. I think I gotta go Ravens here too on a bounce back. Hopefully Lamar got a little healthier. Hopefully he can carry that team to a win. That Steelers team, another team just in shambles. I think you got Mason Rudolph back there. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to play. I don't know if he should play. He's got a fucking broken wrist. Like, I respect it. I get it. But at the same time, that's a team that's got to stop with the quarterback Band-Aids. To say the least, these quarterback Band-Aid teams are teams that are trying to put together a good enough team to not get their coaching staff fired, to not get their owner in hot water. It's not a team that really is looking at the long-term future of the team, and they're not really looking at the short-term future of the team either, because you rarely see these teams that bring in Band-Aid quarterbacks actually win. The Colts were notorious for that. Phillip Rivers. I think they had Matt Ryan there for a little bit. Just bringing in these quarterbacks that were great at a certain point, but have seen better days. Kind of got to old yeller them at some point, and the Colts have historically been the team to old yeller quarterbacks. The only team that I remember bringing in a Band-Aid quarterback like that. It's a little different situation when the Broncos brought in Peyton Manning. The neck, the forehead. It's the only time I really saw it work. And Peyton Manning is not every quarterback. We saw Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career is not what Peyton Manning was at that point with the Broncos. Peyton Manning was a different beast. He had steroids in his neck. He had a forehead the size of Denver. But regardless of his physical features, he was balling out. I think that was first year over was the 55 touchdown season, if I remember correctly. Also, that defense was built to fucking hell. You know, they had a defense to carry them. The Steelers don't have that defense, as we've seen. They also don't have the weapons. They got DK Metcalf, who is kind of athletic for no reason. Sometimes it seems. This dude's like 2% body fat. Fucking animal. He's a fucking animal. But what does it matter? You got Mason Rudolph back there right now, so he's kind of just an athletic freak for no reason right now. So, yeah, I gotta go Ravens here. Just mainly based on the fact that the Steelers are trotting out Mason Rudolph or busted up Aaron Rodgers. I respect the dude Aaron Rodgers. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know the dude fully, but he says some funny stuff sometimes. I like to listen to him talk about stuff. He has interesting takes. I don't agree with all of them, but he's an interesting dude, and I respect that. But I've heard he's a dick sometimes. Ravens. All right, Dolphins, Jets. I was just avoiding talking about this game. Another division game. We got lots of division games this week. Maybe I missed the mark, and there's just so many I don't even need to mention it anymore. But Dolphins, Jets. We got two teams here that are kind of a mess. Different types of messes. Honestly, at least in my eyes, if I were a fan of the Dolphins or the Jets, looking at their situations, I think that I would rather honestly be a Jets fan at this point, because you have a team with the Jets where they don't have an identity. They don't have a franchise quarterback at this point. You got Justin Fields, who obviously is trying to figure out what he's going to do next year, because he lost his job to career backup Tyrod Taylor, who should have been on the Vikings speed dial, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, I would rather root for and watch a team with no identity, because then they can gain that identity, and maybe that identity is great. Maybe that identity works. But instead you have a team right now with no identity, a blank slate. You got some really good young talent there in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, who I believe has the opportunity, well, not opportunity, of course, the opposite of opportunity. He has the tools, rather, to be a top 5 receiver in this league. I see him with the same amount of talent as, dare I say, Jamar Chase, honestly. I wouldn't say Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson's in a league of his own, if we're being honest. And I feel bad for the guy. But yeah, you have a receiver there with a lot of talent, who's still young, who should be a quarterback's dream. It's just, do you have the right coach? Is Aaron Glenn the right dude? I don't know. I don't think the Jets know. I don't think the franchise, I don't think anybody knows, and I don't think we'll really see for sure until next year, because you don't really have a team that's built for winning football at this point. So you really just got to wait and see on him. Give him one more year. But if you're going to bring in a franchise quarterback, if you're going to draft one, usually can't really trade for one or sign one, but if you're going to draft one, you got to make sure that your coaching staff that is in place is the staff that you want to stick with, at least for a bit, until they don't work. But you want a foundation there, so they aren't in situations where they're switching coordinators all the time, switching coaches, switching schemes, switching offenses, and they got to learn all these different offenses. Their brains are scrambled. They're young, and they're trying to just learn NFL football. But on top of that, they got to learn a new playbook every year. They got to learn a new scheme every year. You want to make sure you got that foundation in place at the least. But with the Jets, that has been a problem. So yeah, going Miami here. They are the better team right now, but long term, their future is bleak, in my opinion. You can't really get too excited about having Tua back there. I was a big Tua guy when he came into the league. That was before he got lobotomized week after week. We got to see this guy get tortured for a few weeks there, where his head was just getting fucking blown up, and now we got him out here saying they should play games in Jerusalem. So that's who's running your offense right now. And then, of course, got a broken in half Tyreek Hill, who you want him on the field. Not as a football fan, but as a human. You want him on the field so he can keep filling the world with more Tyreek Hills. We don't necessarily need more of that. But yeah, going Miami here. I gotta go Miami here. But yeah, next, also Ethan went Miami. Kind of figured, but I should put that out there. Next, we got Broncos, Raiders, another division game. So Should be an interesting one. Ethan, of course, going Broncos here. I got to go Broncos too. They are obviously the better team, the way better team. They're a team that is looking forward to the playoffs. They're not really concerned with the lowly Raiders. Just a frustrating team, a frustrating franchise. Why in the world do you see the New York Jets or Giants draft Saquon so high? What did that do for the Giants? Nothing. It set them back, if anything. I was in the camp they should have drafted Sam Darnold at that point. Sam Darnold didn't really pan out till later. Who knows what would have happened if they drafted Darnold? Maybe the same thing, but regardless, if you're a team that is so bad, why are you drafting the top running back in the draft? A running back's not going to put you over. A running back is probably not going to be in his prime by the time you are contenders. By the time the Raiders are contenders, I don't see Genty being in his prime anymore or being on the team anymore. He is a very talented running back, I think. Right now, Kyle Monangai is kind of outplaying him. But is that scheme? Is that offense? Is that coaching staff? Is that offensive line? I don't know. Is it talent? Either way, you got a running back picked in the 6th round, outperforming your top pick in the draft, who you drafted very high when you could have assessed the major hole, which is your entire defense outside of Max Crosby, where you should have probably looked at instead of Ashton Genty, because Ashton Genty, he might be good, but he's not good enough to carry the corpse that is the Raiders team as a whole. You got Geno out there. They wrote him off, and I think this time he wrote back. He let him know, and yeah, you're right this year. I don't know if it's his fault. I don't know if it's the Raiders' fault. I'll blame the Raiders because I like Geno. I like his career arc. I respect working back from the graveyard that has been the Jets. So yeah, going Broncos. Do want to highlight one player on the Denver Broncos, which is R.J. Harvey. Sean Payton's got to use him more, I think, right now. You don't got J.K. Dobbins right now. He's hurt. What the fuck is new? He's hurt. So I think they should really be utilizing R.J. Harvey more, but maybe at this point they're just keeping him healthy for the playoffs, which I get that too. Either way, the Broncos are the better team. They got one of the best defenses in the league. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they can really blow them out, because that Commanders game was closer than I thought it would be. So that'll be interesting to see how they kind of bounce back from a game that close. But yeah, Broncos all day. Rams, Cardinals, another division game. Yeah, I think this one's pretty obvious. Ethan's going Rams here. I'm going Rams here. You got a legit MVP contender in Matthew Stafford. I don't know how the hell he's doing it at this age. Everybody kind of thought he was done, but that year that he was kind of last year, he was also going through injuries. He's also 38, 39, so he's in the twilight years of his career. He's not the Matthew Stafford of old, but he's kind of playing like it. So I think they won last week. Let me double check that. No. We'll talk about that. Yeah, they lost to the Panthers last week. How did I forget that? They lost to the Panthers, which they must be on their bye, but not a great time for a bye, honestly, for the Panthers coming off a Rams win. You want to keep that ball fucking rolling. I forget that their record is not that bad. I think they're 6-5 at this point, which honestly, for the Panthers, you gotta throw a party. You gotta call the governor. You gotta call the president. That's a lot more wins than I thought they'd have at this point. You got to respect it a little bit. Bryce Young, he's been so inconsistent that it's hard to even know if he's that guy. Obviously, if you're a Panthers fan, you want him to be that guy, but he doesn't really have the height. He obviously doesn't have the consistency, but does he have the mental aptitude and the arm talent to push them over that hump and be a consistent quarterback? Because short quarterbacks historically are not the way to go, but we have seen success stories. Russell Wilson fell apart, but it's a short quarterback that made it work. Drew Brees, obviously. Drew Brees. If you guys remember, he went to, where was it? At one prison. Is it Alcatraz? I don't know. No one's here to really tell me I'm bullshitting, but he went to a prison that everybody was saying was so bad, and he goes, it wasn't that bad. Sick. Yeah, going Rams here pretty easily. You got the Cardinals being led by Jacoby Brissett. He can pull some magic out here and there. He's not the worst option in the world, but obviously not ideal, and obviously he's not Matthew Stafford. I'm just hoping that Marvin Harrison can turn his career around, because he seems like a guy that really does deserve the success. You get the nepotism there a little bit, but he had to play at a certain level to get to this point to be such a high draft pick. A lot of people saying he was the best player overall in that draft. I remember a lot of Bears fans saying they should take Marv and keep Justin Fields. That obviously turned out to not age too well, but people were saying it. It was a take. He's got the talent, but he hasn't really had the quarterback play. He hasn't really had the coaching stability. I believe, maybe I'm going to sound stupid, but I think Cliff Kingsbury was their coach when he came in, and now they have a coach that I don't know. So I don't know if he's good or bad, but they're not winning, so he's not Sean McVay by any means. So yeah, I got to go Rams here. Next we got my game of the week. A division game. We got the Chicago Bears heading to Green Bay, heading north to Lambeau to play the Packers. And I don't think I need to even say it, but Ethan's got the Packers. Sorry if that got picked up, but I'm going Bears. I don't think there's going to be a week where I don't pick the Bears, but especially this week. I wouldn't be mad if the Bears lose every game, but they beat the Packers twice the rest of the year. That's all I need to see. I have been tremendously more happy watching Bears football this year than I have any year in the past. It has been a dream come true as a football fan to see an offense that doesn't make me rip my hair out, and a defense that, quite frankly, has really taken an identity, forcing takeaways. Saw another great play from a guy I was talking about earlier, players playing for their career every game. Nashawn Wright. He plays not like his career's on the line, but he plays like there's a gun to his mom's head at home. He plays his heart out. He might get burnt sometimes, but every play he is going for that ball, and by God, he's getting picks. He's getting strips. He stripped Jalen Hurts on the tush push. Nobody could figure that play out. He ran back there. Why didn't you guys do that before? Nashawn Wright did it. Dennis Allen drew it up. Why didn't anybody else try that? This team won a Super Bowl. And that play was, they were trying to make rules about banning that play. I'm sorry, but that play is legal. They just got to call call it a little closer. I've seen some false starts on that play where they kind of let us slide, but it's a football play. Figure it out. You're professional. Figure it out. Nashawn Wright did. Fill-in practice squad cornerback came up and he figured it out. Maybe I'm giving him more credit than he deserves, but regardless, he's been balling out. He's been crazy. Hopefully we can re-sign him, but we also see the return of Jalen Johnson last week. I don't think it's a coincidence how good their defense looked getting Jalen Johnson back. You got Kyler Gordon in the slot, and you got Nashawn Wright, who might be taking Tyreek Stevenson's job. But Tyreek Stevenson's been playing a little bit better this year. I think he really got a fire lit under his ass after really shifting the Bears' momentum last year in the wrong direction. He shifted it in a good way this year in the right direction with that strip against the Cowboys that I've talked about on previous episodes. But yeah, that defense has really turned from being a liability into a defense that can make plays and can shift momentum of games. Because it's one thing to give up yards and give up field position and get pushed around. You have that and you have a bad defense. If you have that coupled with a defense that is getting picks, that is getting strips, it's not that bad. It's not that bad getting pushed around a little bit if you can end up with a pick, if you can end up with a turnover, you know? So yeah, but on the other hand, we got Green Bay coming in kind of hot. They beat division rival Detroit last week. Jordan Love looked pretty good for 4 touchdowns. I think Dontavian Wicks got 2 or 3 of them. Looked pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see if that defense can get to Caleb. I know there's been a lot of talk about Caleb recently, and if they're winning because of him or in spite of him. As somebody that's watched every Bears game this year, I can't fully call it. I don't think he's been a world beater this year, but I also would hesitate to say he has been a detriment to the team. He's looked a lot better this year with a competent coaching staff, with a very built offensive line, with the best running game I've seen in Chicago since the Matt Forte days, to be frank. Monangai tearing it up. Over 100 yards last week and the touchdown. And then you get DeAndre Swift over 100 yards and the touchdown too, I believe. So hopefully they can do something similar this week. It's going to be fucking cold. I can say that. It's going to be a fucking cold one. So hopefully Caleb is used to the winter, because I'll tell you this right now. Wisconsin is not a fun place right now. Weather-wise, it's not a fun place. So hopefully he's not still adjusted to the California climate. But not that that matters too much. I'm going Chicago. And we got Texans Chiefs. Chiefs. Gotta be Chiefs. Yeah, the Texans have they've looked better. Their defense has been good. The Chiefs they've looked kind of bad. Saw Chris Jones crying last week. I see him cry every week. You watch the Chiefs play any game, he's always crying. It's fine, but I don't know why they still show him on camera like it's such a big moment when he's crying. That dude cries almost every game. He's probably just pumped to be there. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not the dude. But yeah, gotta go Chiefs here. You got a team that's kind of looking for a win here. I think they might be out of playoff contention. Otherwise, they need a lot to go right. And if you need a lot to go right, you can't really lose at this point. So I think the Chiefs maybe really come out guns a-blazing here. Or maybe they show that it's not their year. Maybe it's just not their year this year. As somebody that's watched football, it's hard for me to see a team where they're just, you always know they're going to be in contention. And then last year, you get such a fluky year from them where they're just winning games and you don't really know how because they're not playing the best football, but they're keeping it close enough where Mahomes can kind of make it happen. This year, he hasn't been making it happen. It's been too much for him to make it happen. I watched that Cowboys game, and he did try his best. It was not his fault that they lost. That defense really gave a lot to the Cowboys. And going back to football being a game of just a couple plays, Cowboys at the end of that game, going down there, George Pickens almost fumbled. The Chiefs almost recovered that fumble and won that game. They could have won that game all the way up until the end. It was right up until the end that the Cowboys really, really took that game over. But seeing them lose to a team like the Cowboys, a team that is also a team that's underperforming, in my opinion. They have one of the best offenses in the league on paper, and they've just been underperforming. So you really like to see the Chiefs go in there and win that one, and they didn't. But I see them winning this one. But I think the Texans will be a bigger fight than it really seems at first glance. So yeah, that'll be a game to tune in for if you're bored on Sunday night. Yeah, Chiefs, and Ethan's going Chiefs as well. Then we got Eagles Chargers here. For Monday. That'll be an interesting game. I don't know if Amarion Hampton's back yet. I know Justin Herbert's hurt too. But we got Ethan going Chargers here, which is interesting. After seeing the Eagles lose the way they did last week, I almost want to go the same way. But on the same note, with Justin Herbert being questionable, with that team not really selling me, I kind of have to go Philly here on a bounce back. I think maybe last game their offense was stifled by trying to force feed A.J. Brown. I don't know why they are trying to please him so much. He is a great talent, but on the same note, if dude's always complaining about his targets, if he's causing problems, why are you giving in to that? I don't see why you give in to that as a franchise. I get the talent that he is. I also get that winning football games should be top priority, not how good he's performing in the numbers section. If he's not getting targeted because Devontae Smith is going off, Devontae Smith's burning the corner every play, why are you complaining that you're not getting targets if your team is playing winning football? You have Saquon Barkley. Kind of been a down year, but we know who Saquon Barkley is when he has the ball in his hands. Why complain when you don't have to take those big fucking hits? You can play longer if you're not getting the ball as much. At least from my viewpoint, I mean, I don't play NFL football, but I assume if you're not getting tackled every play, you can probably play more football. I personally, as a football fan, would rather see the Bears win than see DJ Moore go off every game. I know he's a good player. I know Rome Odunze's a good receiver. I know A.J. Brown's a good receiver. A.J. Brown doesn't need to get a touchdown or more than 90 yards a week for me to think that. I know what A.J. Brown is. I know what Devontae Smith is. I know what Jalen Hurts is. I know what Saquon is. I know that those are good offensive pieces. They won a fucking Super Bowl. Why are you so focused on getting targets? Do you want to go somewhere else? Are you trying to show off for another team? Because I'm starting to, if I were a Philly fan, I'd be starting to look at it like a jealous boyfriend here and be like, are you trying to show off for someone else? Because Philly doesn't want to get rid of A.J. Brown. Clearly. They're willing to change their offense up to please him. They don't want to get rid of him. He's their top receiver. Why would they want to get rid of him? They need him there. A.J. Brown is not successful because of Jalen Hurts. if we're being real. Jalen Hurts is successful because of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley and that offensive line and Nick Sirianni. I pray for that offensive coordinator's house if they lose again. So I'm going Philly. I'm going Philly here. As much as I don't think they deserve it, I'm going to have to go Philly here just because I think that they're the better team at this point, and I got to go with the better team over off-the-field stuff, which Philly football is... It's like RuPaul's Drag Race with the drama sometimes. They gotta chill out and play some fucking ball sometimes. I mean, yeah. But yeah, that's our picks for next week. Yeah, we'll be back at you, probably the both of us, for next episode. But I hope that I was good enough. Yeah. Few words of wisdom to keep in mind for next week. Don't watch football from a perspective of this team is worse than this team, therefore it's automatically decided. Watch for what are these few plays that make the game's outcome be the way that it is, and is this team setting themselves up to be in a position to get those plays to go in their favor. That's really what football comes down to. It's two teams trying to get in a position to have the opportunity to make the plays to win a football game. It's not trying to dominate a game, because in the NFL, it's hard to do that unless you're going up against a trash team. But watch for those plays, and I'm sure you'll see them because they happen quite a bit. Bears, Eagles. Caleb's rolling out. He's about to get sacked. He lobs it up. Cole Kmet is open. If he gets hit on that play and sacked, that shifts the whole game. That touchdown goes away. There's 7 points off the board, off of one play. It's a lot different from basketball. You know, maybe not base. I don't watch other sports. I'm not Canadian. I don't watch hockey. But football is really my favorite sport because there's so much that goes into every big play and every play that goes terribly wrong, because every play that goes terribly wrong was drawn up to be a great play. So it's really interesting to see where those plays go wrong, except that Colts fake punt. That was doomed. That was a big mistake. Oh yeah, I wanted to touch on one more thing. Younghoe Koo on that kick. What do you guys think of that? I got an opinion. Not his fault. Not his fault at all. Watch the placement of that kick. The holder on that. Shaking around. You go up to kick that ball, and if you shank it so bad it gets blocked, that's a live football. That can be a touchdown the other way if you play it, or just really bad field position if they return it to a certain yard line. But either way, if you're going to miss the kick and you know it, and you might miss it so bad it could end up in a touchdown, I don't see what's wrong with kicking the ground on purpose to stop yourself from doing that and giving your holder a chance to make a play. Because even if it's 5% chance that they actually get a first down there, let's just say 5%. A 5% chance of getting a first down and a 95% chance of losing a couple yards, you get the turnover on downs. I would rather take the turnover on downs than a 10% chance of a touchdown going the other way, because then you're automatically losing 7 points. If you just get the turnover on downs, you have the chance for your defense to go out there and get a stop. And for the Giants, you have a defense that isn't awful. They can get a stop. So why not give your defense the opportunity to get a stop there instead of just giving up the 7? All right, I'm yapping. It's been almost an hour. Yeah, much love, guys. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you all have a good Christmas, but I'll see you again before then with Ethan most likely. But yeah, peace out, guys. Enjoy the football next week. I'll see y'all.